All-Stars. John Casey, who had an excellent regular season and continues this fine play in the playoffs, though with only 2 wins and 5 losses in his previous playoff experience.
The referee tonight will be Don Koharski, the linesman Ron Finn, and Big Mike Civic. Mike Hudson's getting the starting call tonight on the left side. He'll be in there to replace Lemieux in the Hawk lineup. It's Hudson with Troy Murray and Greg Gilbert here to start the game. Gagne with Bellows and Barber for the North Stars. Here's the draw, and it's cleared into the Minnesota zone. Casey flipped it to the far corner. Gilbert able to hold it in, battling there. Now Gagne chipped it loose around the boards, and Murphy unable to get it out. Now gets some help from Barber. Got it to center. Here's Gagne over the Hawk line, weaving into the slot. Fires, deflected up off the glass. Out of the far corner, Barber. Keith Brown delivered a big hit on Gagne, knocking him down. Here's Gagne back on his feet, digs it out. Put it side of the net. Bellows shoots, and a save by Miller. Rebound, Millen! Great save as Musil couldn't stuff it in. Now a shot is blocked. Winds up in the far corner. Barber on it there. Good start here for the North Stars. Brown behind his own net works with Barber, and they're going to neutralize one another, so the whistle stops the play.
Well, you would expect the North Stars to come flying out of the gate and get some good chances early, but Greg Millen very, very sharp right off the bat, and that's got to help his confidence. Gagne puts it behind the net. Bellows picks it up. Goes to the backhand, tries to stuff it. Then Musil in deep hacks at it. Again hacked at, saved by Millen. Finally, Millen's able to poke it away, and the Hawks couldn't clear, but they end up freezing in behind the net. So good work by Greg Millen in the first 52 seconds.
Now Jeremy Roenick with Creighton and Presley for Chicago. Madonna won the draw, though to Giles. A long shot deflected off the far side of the net. Now Dallin to the corner. He's bumped there along the boards by Roenick. Poked it loose for Presley, and he whacked it to the North Star line. Mike Madonna back for Minnesota. Now Madonna, long bank pass accepted by Dallin. Rolled it over the line. Duchesne forgot the puck, though. And it's cleared to center, where Wilkinson cleared it back into the Blackhawk end. Taken by Manson. Around the boards for Presley on the right side. Presley shot it through to an open wing. Gavin steals. Stuart Gavin lost it as he came to the line. Steve Thomas knocked it loose to Manson, who has some room to center. But his pass is picked off. Taken by Mark Tenorti. Tenorti sliding it into the Chicago zone. Doug Wilson around the boards for Larmer. Tied up by Neil Broughton, who steals. Centered one. Didn't get through to brother Aaron. Wilson picked it off to Savard. Here's Savard over the line for Thomas, moving and shoots. It's deflected by Chambers. Over the glass into the crowd. We're just underway in the Met Center in Game 4. There is no score. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
Because success is largely dependent on being in the right place at the right time, the Chicago Sun-Times introduces Final Markets Plus. Wrapped around the daily Sun-Times, Final Markets Plus brings you late-breaking business decisions, closing stock prices, national and international news reports, up-to-the-minute sports stories, and updated evening entertainment information. In short, it's all the information you need when you need it. Final Markets Plus, daily by 5 p.m. at over 200 city locations.
Well, there was more flow in Game 3, and already a good start here in the first 2.5 minutes or 2 minutes or so, the end-to-end action.
Doug Wilson tees up a long shot. Oh, Casey ducking out of the way of that bullet. Over to the far board, Larmer into the corner, just hopped away from Gilbert behind the net. Now Greg Gilbert works against Chambers. He centered, just missed Savard in the slot. Out comes Gavin. Gavin bouncing it into the Blackhawk end. Taken by Trent Yanni. He got a big hit behind the goal, but held the puck. Yanni now chipped it loose to the far side, held in by Aaron Broughton, trying to shoot one, deflected behind the net. And here's Musil centering. Neil Broughton peels off to the far side with it. Cleared it around the boards. Just missing Gavin to the near side. Now into the corner, Aaron Broughton leaves it for Neil. Neil Broughton to the line. Murphy along one-timer. Didn't get through to the net. Savard able to get it loose to center and Larmer. Dumping it in, hoping for Gilbert. Gilbert bumped by Murphy to the near corner. And then Berezan came to take it away. Perry Berezan had his pocket picked by Creighton to the far side. Adam Creighton turns behind the Minnesota goal. Creighton trying to make a play, finally got knocked down. Here come the North Stars away, 3-on, 4-on-2 it is. And a long shot by Musil. He must have had the blinders on. It was a 4-on-2. He shot from outside the line. Here's McRae moving in. Poked away to Churla. His shot blocked by Creighton. Adam Creighton might have saved a goal there, and now Van Dorp able to get it back to center ice. And he shoots it in.
The North Stars are crowding the front of the net tonight. They're going right in there and putting a lot of traffic.
Kurt Giles, a big hit on Van Dorp. Now here's Conroy on the near board. His long shot kicked aside by Casey. Thomas trying to center, picked off and cleared by Berezan back into the Chicago end. Brown gave it to Troy Murray. His pass is picked off, and McRae got it back into the Blackhawk zone. Brown for Thomas on the right side. Tenorti stepped into him, but Troy Murray carries away, trying to feed Hudson. He couldn't hold the pass. Back comes Gagne. Spinning pass in front to Churler. Barber, he shoots, he scores! Don Barber with a backhander. Greg Millen arguing, but it will be a goal. And it's 1-0 Minnesota.
Well, it looked like Millen might have been interfered with. I think that's what he's arguing about, that he was lost his footing as he was coming across to play the shot. Don Barber, who had 7 goals in his career in 7 games against the Blackhawks in regular season play, puts the backhander past Millen at 4:24 of the first period, and the North Stars have been flying here in the early going. And Greg Millen has been very busy. That's the 7th shot of the period for the North Stars. Blackhawks have yet to have a shot on goal. Millen was off balance, wasn't set for the shot, as the North Stars have been going to the front of the net, crowding him.
Well, of the 24 goals Don Barber scored in his career, 8 of them have been against the Hawks. Here's Larmer right off the draw, shoot, and a save, rebound, but net comes loose. And John Casey may be hurt. As Larmer was charging toward the goal, Casey, the sitting duck, was just leveled. And now looks as if he's just trying to regain his senses, but looks like he'll be maybe all right. Well, the North Star trainer out to have a look at John Casey. That Barber goal assisted by Gagne and Chambers at 4:24. Then right off the ensuing faceoff, the Blackhawks have their first good scoring chance of the game.
Steve Larmer cutting in on the off wing, shielding the puck with his body. Giles trying to get back. Larmer lets the shot go and then goes crashing in. I think Giles hit head-to-head with Casey and sent Casey flying. Casey, who was hit in the head by a Steve Larmer shot in the Game 3, bounced right back and back up on his own after that collision with his own player, as Giles tried to pull Larmer down as he had a step on him. First shot on goal for the Blackhawks.
So the first power play chance of the game. Chicago in the series, just 4 out of 27. Here's the draw. The North Stars clear it. Savard, Larmer, and Presley on the Chicago power play with Wilson and Bob Murray. Berezan, one of the North Star penalty killers, with Gavin. Normally Neil Broughton had been out in front. And it's Chambers and Tenorti on the defense. The Hawks dump it in. Larmer to the far point. Bob Murray long shot. Presley couldn't redirect it. Now Wilson for Bob Murray at the far point. Back to Wilson, the deep slot. His pass deflecting, but Savard held it in. Centered it. Presley couldn't hold the pass. Berezan cleared. Now Bob Murray. Forced to turn by Bellows. Murray now with a little room. Works his way to center. Puts Savard over the line, and Presley was in ahead of the play.
Well, I think both wingers might have been offside in that situation. Bob Murray casually bringing it up the ice at a slow pace and no one really to give it to. Finally got it to Savard. Larmer on the far side was across the line as well.
28 points in 23 games for Savard against the North Stars in postseason play. And Savard with 102 points in his playoff career. Now it's Creighton, Roenick, and Thomas on the Hawk power play. Here's the draw. Duchesne hustling in on Brown. A weak backhander stopped easily by Millen. And Keith Brown, wearing the captain's C for Chicago, now has some room back to center. He dumps it in. Casey poked it to the far side. Brown got it to the corner. Kicked it loose for Roenick behind the net. He's run over there by Wilkinson, but the Hawks keep it in. Brown at the far point. Up the boards to Thomas. Steve Thomas hangs on, slipped it to Brown. The long one-timer didn't get through. Duchesne steals, clears.
Well, Duchesne has had a terrific series and a lot of his playoff experience coming with the Capitals. A good defensive forward, a good play blocking the Keith Brown attempt.
Manson pushes it into the North Star zone. Bob Murray to the corner. Had it knocked loose, but dug out to the line for Manson. His long shot and a save by Casey. Rebound to the North Stars. Tenorti. He clears. And the Minnesota penalty is over, so this is going to be ruled an icing call against the North Stars with just over 13 minutes to go in the first period. 1-0 Minnesota. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
You see the signs, but you can read. Running at a different speed. Your heart beats in double time. Another kiss, and you'll be mine. One track mind. You're addicted to love. Might as well face it. You're addicted to love.
Failed to capitalize once again with a power play. A power play has not been very good in this series. 4 for 28 now. And they got 3 of those 4 goals in game 2. When they came from behind, down 3-0 in the first half of the first period.
Here's the draw now. And the North Stars. Larry Murphy takes a long shot. Millen kicks it aside to Secord. Now Larmer puts Savard over the North Star line. Savard a one-hand attempt to make a stick handling move. He couldn't complete it. Giles the other way. Throws it into the Chicago zone. Secord gave it away to Neil Broughton. Around the boards for Aaron to the corner. Aaron Broughton behind the net to Gavin centered it. Neil Broughton shot it just wide, and Savard chips it loose to Doug Wilson. Feeding Steve Larmer to center ice. He's turned around there. Yanni covers it up and flipped it back to the Minnesota line. Taken by Ulf Dahlen. Rolled it ahead. Here's Madonna in on Bob Murray trying to center it. Wilson there to steal it. Clearing to center ice. Now Duchesne. His pass deflecting. Dahlen got to it. Thomas poked it off his stick though. And it's finally corralled by Giles for the North Star. Gave it to Chambers. Now up the right wing boards for Dahlen. He feeds Madonna over the line. Mike Madonna a drop pass to Dahlen. They rule the play offside as Madonna kind of dragged it behind him a little bit. 12 minutes to go in the first. 1-0 Minnesota as we pause for a regional break. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
If you just ask for a light beer, give me a light. You never know what you'll get. Thoughts? No, actually, Bud Light. So if you want the clean, fresh taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, ask for Bud Light. Yours? No, because everything else...
Give me a light. Showtime!
...is just a light.
the draw cleared to the Minnesota line. Giles clears it around the boards. And Dave Gagne able to clear it to center ice. Here's Wilkinson. A feed for Barber, who shoots. And it deflects up off the glass. Barber trying to center it. Brown picked it off and clears it back into the North Star zone as the Hawks will accept an icing call here. Well, we thought the North Stars would come out with a rip-roaring start. They have not disappointed us in that regard.
Well, they had to have this type of start. They lose this game, not a big chance of winning the series. They need to win this to even it up to go back to Chicago Stadium. An excellent start, but only with the one goal. Hawks have had maybe one scoring chance and a power play besides. They only had the one long shot on the power play. 9-1 the shots on goal in favor of the Stars. And St. Louis, they had 3 games to none, trailing 1-0 to Toronto in the second period.
Now here's Trent Yawney for Hudson on the near board. Cleared it to center ice. Berezan got tied up, but got some help, and Musil got it back into Chicago territory. Wilson now starts it ahead, cleared it right onto the stick of Gilbert. Greg Gilbert in on Musil on the far side, waiting for help. Now looking for Creighton. He couldn't hold the pass. Creighton digs it out behind the net, but was bumped off the play, and back come the North Stars. Shane Churla with a long shot, gloved easily by Millen. He was going to play it. Now he does to Manson. After waiting for a second or two, and then Gilbert got it to the center ice area. Cleared back now into the Chicago zone, taken by Manson. His pass misses Savard. Aaron Broughton chases into his own end. Broughton gave it away to Savard. Right in, shoots Casey. A sprawling save. Rebound Larmer centered at Secord. He couldn't pull the trigger. And back come the North Stars. Stuart Gavin has Neil Broughton breaking. Rolled it over the line. Broughton right in. Centered it. Kick to the doorstep. And Millen made the save. Now a penalty will be called against Chicago. And the North Stars are giving the Blackhawks all they want and more. We're halfway through the first. It's 1-0 Minnesota as we pause for a regional break. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
Don't worry about the traffic or the weather outside. We'll get you there safely where your ticket to ride. Pick up your pace, your suburban bus. Pick up your pace, yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll get you from place to place. We'll put a smile on your face. So pick up your pace. Come on and pick up, pick up, pick up. Pick up your pace.
Blackhawks have had very few scoring chances. Dennis Savard, though, steals it from Aaron Broughton, goes to the backhand. Casey, a desperation type save, got the stick on it, deflected behind. The North Stars come right back. They counter the pass over to Broughton. Broughton fakes, slips it back, just misses his 2 line mates, and Savard was able to put it towards Millen, who in turn kicked it to Larmer. Bob Murray on that counter gets a holding penalty. And the North Stars look to add to their 1-0 lead with their first power play of the night. They're 4 for 23 with the man advantage.
Gagne, Dallin, and Bellows for Minnesota, with Murphy and Neil Broughton at the points. Now Larmer and Troy Murray on for Chicago with Brown and Conroy. Here's Larry Murphy at the near point. For Gagne trying to center it, stolen by Troy Murray, and then getting help from Larmer, who clears it. Here comes Brian Bellows on right wing, clearing it across to Neil Broughton. He's forced to turn at center. Broughton then flipped it over the Hawk line. Larmer steals, couldn't get it out though. Dallin on the far board, walks to the deep slot, gave it to Neil Broughton, who shoots one. Millen got a piece of that. Comes to the near corner, Dallin back of the net to Gagne, trying to stuff it in. It rolled off the end of his stick. Larmer had it, failed to clear it though. Back behind the Hawk goal. Bellows is all alone there. Centered one. Millen blocked the pass beautifully. but the North Stars keep it in. Here's Murphy, and he couldn't hold the feed, or he would have had a chance from the deep slot. Well, Minnesota regroups at center with a minute left on their power play. Neil Broughton turning on Hudson, now grabs his stick. Hudson might have had a break, otherwise he gets to it now, but his pass is deflected and winds up behind the North Star goal. Here's a Casey giveaway. Hudson trying to stuff it in, hit the side of the net, and out come the North Stars. A lead deflecting to Aaron Broughton over the line. To Barber, centered it, and Yanni saved a good chance because Madonna was all alone in the slot. But Yanni with a good play to block the pass. Now Chambers in 2-on-1, cuts for the net. Diving play by Yanni again. And the Hawks clear it. Trent Yanni, two terrific defensive plays. And he really saved Greg Millen a couple of headaches there. Now Wilkinson over the Chicago line. Trying to cut for the net. Centered one. Chipped in. They score. Don Barber's second goal of the game. And his 9th career goal against Chicago out of the 25 that he scored. It's 2-0 Minnesota.
Well, Millen came out of the net to try and poke it and got caught in between. Couldn't get to it. Barber just came in. Wilkinson carrying it in from the defense position up the ice. One-handed pass out front. Millen goes to deflect it, but misses it and can't get back into position, and Barber just flipped it up over him and just barely got it into the net. But a good play by Wilkinson. Millen down trying to deflect it and didn't get it, and he was off balance in his attempt, and Barber gets his second of the night, and the North Stars with a 2-0 lead, 11:41 into the first period.
Don Barber continues to have a field day against Chicago in his career, and that's all for Greg Millen. For the second time in the series, Ed Belfour comes on to replace Greg Millen in goal. And Greg Millen slamming his stick on the boards as he heads for the Chicago bench. The Hawks have been outshot 12-2, and again, not sure you can fault Millen on either of the goals. I think this is Mike Keenan's attempt to try to somehow get his team back into it here.
Greg Millen is not very pleased about it. He took it in a good way the first time, but he's not too glad about this situation. He wants to finish the game. He's had a good start to it, and he's upset.
Wilkinson and Aaron Broughton the assist. Here comes Steve Thomas, right it alone, shoots. Casey the save. Twice after the North Stars had scored on the ensuing face-off, Chicago had great chances, and twice they've been unable to answer. Here comes McRae. A long shot deflects into the crowd.
The Hawks have had 3 scoring chances in this period. Larmer had one, Savard the other, and that last one by Thomas. Thomas had all kinds of time breaking in on the wing, took a look, faked to the right, came back to the left, tried to put it over him, and Casey got enough of it, and it just deflected over the net.
Well, the North Stars, with an outstanding first period, have been dominant so far tonight. The Hawks have had, as Dale said, only 3 chances. They've had 3 great chances to score. But that's it. Minnesota's had double, maybe triple that number.
And some of their good chances are squandered by good defensive plays or bad passing. And some odd man breaks. Trent Yanni saved 2 beautiful chances with a fine defensive work while killing a penalty. And another odd man break, a bad pass from Neil Broughton.
Here's the draw to Manson. Clearing it down into the North Star zone. Casey out of the net to whack it, not out. Oh, Presley had a chance to take a swing at a bouncing puck. He didn't connect, but Casey well out of the net when he attempted to do so. Now Dave Gagne, and there's a big Hawk penalty as Bellows was flipped by Hudson. Here comes Gagne over the line, turning. Now cleared it into the corner. Murphy, he tries to center it, picked off. And the penalty is now going to be called. Mike Hudson well off the play, just tripped up Brian Bellows, and the Hawks are going to be shorthanded. It's Minnesota 2, Chicago nothing. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
Look at me.
I'm as helpless as a kitten on a string.
That one never stops.
Game 5 of the series on Thursday night is letter C on your ticket.
Thank you.
Mike Hudson for tripping. Hudson, a selfish penalty, a bad penalty on his part, taking exception to a Bellows hit. Mike Hudson was flattened by Bellows after he dumped it in. Good clean hit by Bellows. Hudson took exception to it, retaliated, took a penalty, and a bad play on his part. Down 2-0, the North Stars on the power play once again.
Now the draw, Larry Murphy around the boards, too far for Dahlin. Conroy picks it up, failed to get it out. Bellows got run over along the boards, and the Hawks now able to clear it as Larmer shoots at the leg. Murphy starts the North Stars back. The Hawks pull back and line up for a cross, forcing Murphy to dump it in. Belfour put it to the corner. Now out to the line, Murphy at the near point. Up the board to Gagne, side of the net. Dahlin centered it, and it deflects back into the center ice area. Murphy gave it to Neil Broughton. Broughton stick handles over the Chicago line, trying to slip it to Gagne, who's unable to field it. Now Murphy holds it in, the long shot, missing the net. Rebound Presley. He golfed it out to center. It just hopped over Larmer's sticker. He might have had a chance. A minute left in the North Star power play. But here's a Presley steal to Gilbert, who shoots one, and Murphy able to block the shot. Gilbert to the near corner against Gagne. North Star is able to pry it loose. Neil Broughton now shovels it up the right wing boards. Murphy clearing to center. Aaron Broughton was stopped there by Yanni, and Barber has to retreat to his own end. 6 minutes left in the first period. 2-0 Minnesota. North Stars with half a minute to go on a power play. As they dump it in, Wilkinson to the near corner, shoots one, and a save by Belfour. Rebound taken by Creighton. He has a little time, and he clears. Now the North Stars with one more quick power play rush. Barber steps over the Chicago line. A backhander and a save by Belfour. Rebound taken by Roenick, clearing to center ice. The Hawk penalty now over. Both teams back at full strength as Casey makes a long save on a Manson shot. Welcome to those of you who are watching the Toronto-St. Louis game. Pat Foley and Dale Talon here in the Met Center, and Minnesota facing a 2-1 deficit in this series has just been terrific here in the first period. The North Stars are flying.
Well, they have a 2-0 lead. They've had 2 power plays. They haven't scored on the power plays, but they've had great chances. Greg Millen yanked after the second Barber goal. Millen had a good start to the game. Keenan did it once before when he allowed 3 in game 2. Put Belfour in there, and Belfour has gone in to replace Millen, and Millen didn't like it this time as he came to the bench in a rage, slamming his stick at the board on the boards and pointing at Keenan.
This is the 18th time this year that the Blackhawks have changed goaltenders during the course of a game. 18 times out of 84 games. Here's the draw of the North Star zone. Now a battle along the near board. Berezan flipped it back into Chicago ice. Taken by Dennis Savard. So Wilson put it back to Savard on the move at center. His pass stolen by Giles for a moment, then Wilson got it back. Doug Wilson in his own end. Gave it to Yanni. He shot it to center. Larmer there. Got it to Savard. Rolled it over the North Star line, but a couple of Hawks in there ahead of the play with 5 minutes remaining in the opening period. Minnesota 2, Chicago nothing. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
CCM 651 Tax. The only skate with vacuform. Heat molded to the exact shape of your foot. The only skate with heel lace. Dual lacing that locks in perfect fit. To transmit your power and control directly where you need it most. Right into your game. 651 Tax by CCM. Turn on the power.
Face-off coming outside the North Star line. Now Troy Murray with Presley and Gilbert for Chicago. Against McRae, Berezan, and Churla for Minnesota. Steve Conroy needing a new stick comes over to the Chicago bench. Troy Murray with 17 goals this year. It was the lowest total he's had since 1984. And Murray, surprisingly, during the regular season, Troy Murray had a meager 111 shots on goal for the entire year. Now here's the draw to Perry Berezan. Dumping it into the Chicago zone. Conroy with a right wing board. Presley failed to get it out. Here's Chambers with a long shot. Didn't get through. Conroy cleared it to Chambers, whose shot is again blocked. And shot back to the North Star zone. Wilkinson bounced it to center. McRae whacked it into the Hawk zone. Conroy shot it back the other way, and Murphy has to chase it down. Larry Murphy. Long feed just misses Gagne. Manson in his own end. Bounces it out to center, and Creighton. Adam Creighton over the Minnesota line. The trailer's Bob Murray, but he's knocked down by Duchesne. Now a centering pass picked off by Casey, and he goes down to clear it.
Well, Sutter from a sharp angle just decided to put it out front in traffic and hope for a deflection, maybe get a break. Creighton carries it in, drops it to Bob Murray. Good read by Duchesne, who's had a good series defensively. Into Sutter in the corner and just flipped it towards the net. Casey kicked at it with Van Dorp there. Good job by Murphy tying up Van Dorp, and then Casey recovered and pounced on a loose puck.
Hudson and Modano get ready to the left of Casey. There's the draw to the North Stars. Big hit by Hudson, knocking down his man along the boards, and he may be shaken up. Don Koharski stopping the play. It does not appear that he's going to call a penalty, but Musil apparently landed in an awkward position, and looks as if it may be a shoulder. Just guessing here at what the problem might be. Well, the Minnesota trainer is out there for the second time tonight.
Well, Hudson trying to replace Lemieux in the physical aspects. North Stars have been dishing out most of the hits. Hudson was flattened by Bellows and returns the favor to Musil. It's a good clean hit.
Late in the first, Minnesota leads Chicago 2-0. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
Exclusively on Sports Channel, your home for the NHL. 14-4 the shots in favor of the North Stars, and that has been an indication of the play as well. Hawks have had 3 good scoring chances in the entire period of the 4 shots they've had. The one shot was from outside the blue line.
Here's the draw to Yanni. A long shot doesn't get through, and it's picked up by McRae. Giving to Shane Churla, who's knocked down at center. Hudson back to the line, trying to feed Sutter. Redirected it into the slot. Here's a hack at it by Van Dorp, but he couldn't connect. And back of the goal, Sutter trying to center one, picked off by McRae. And here come the North Stars. Basil McRae works it over the Chicago line, flipped it to Berezan, who swung it around the board. Belfour gave it to Hudson. He clears it to the neutral area. Giles puts it back in. Taken by Manson. Long feed to Dwayne Sutter. And he shot it down into the North Star zone. This is going to be an icing call against Chicago. How about Bob Murdoch's Winnipeg Jets? They've taken a 3-1 lead over Edmonton in the first period of their game. And they already lead the series 2-1.
Well, they've had a terrific year. Murdoch has had a great year with Winnipeg, a team that many considered that would miss the playoffs.
Well, the North Stars playing as if they had their backs against the wall, and they've come up with a brilliant effort here in period 1. They have just been dominant.
And with Musil being helped off the locker room, Larry Murphy will probably get more ice time than he is accustomed to, which is a lot to begin with. He's had an excellent year.
Now the draw, quick shot right on. Belfour able to make the stop, taken by Thomas. Around the boards to Troy Murray. Got knocked down by Bellows at center, but managed to flip it in, and there's going to be a penalty coming up against Chicago as Bellows was then leveled. I think that was Creighton that might have gotten him. There's going to be a Hawk penalty now as Creighton picks up the puck. The whistle sounds. And again, the Hawks getting trapped in this retaliation. They've been very good at staying away from that for the most part, but twice tonight, selfish penalties taken.
Well, Hudson retaliated on Bellows. And Bellows with a clean hit on Troy Murray along the boards. And then Creighton came in and rammed him from behind, head first into the boards. Well, another bad penalty, and down 2-0. The North Stars get their third power play of the period. Creighton with the penalty at 17:38 for charging. Good call by Kuharski. Bellows has been involved in a few of the penalty situations as Hudson tried to get back at him, and then Creighton tried to get back at him for a clean hit on Troy Murray. Both hits that Bellows dished out were clean, solid hits, and both times Blackhawks take penalties for unnecessary reasons.
Well, the North Stars with an opportunity to add to a 2-0 lead.
Third power play of the night, 26th in the series, 4 power play goals.
Now the draw, controlled by Murphy. Welcome again to those of you who are watching Toronto St. Louis. Here's the North Star power play. Aaron Broughton steps over the line. Into the corner, Modano. Mike Modano leaves it for Barber, trying to center it. Larmer blocked the pass. Barber still has it. Now Aaron Broughton bounced it loose side of the net. Belfour out there to freeze it. And there will be a draw on the Hawk end.
Eddie the Eagle.
What? Ed Belfour, the second time in the series, on in relief of Greg Millen. Belfour, 24 years old. This just is the 25th game ever in the NHL. Spent the entire year with the Canadian national team. And I would imagine that's a rather distressed hockey coach. Mike Keenan behind the Chicago bench can hardly be happy with what he's seen so far tonight. Now the North Stars. Bellows on right wing at center. Gains the Hawk line. Threw it into the far corner. Now dug out of there by Bellows himself. Bellows on the far board. Threw it across to Murphy at the near point. His slip shot didn't get through. Bellows after it. Had it knocked away. Murphy keeps it in. And then his pass hit the skate of Neil Broughton back out to center ice. A minute left on the Minnesota power play. Now here they come. Alt Dahlin turns in the far corner. Left it there for Bellows. Out to the line, Neil Broughton. Gave it to Murphy. Near board to Gagne. Gagne hanging on. Back to Neil Broughton. He gave it to Murphy. To Gagne near circle. Still hanging on to it. Side of the net for Barber, or Dahlin rather. Alt Dahlin to Gagne in the corner. Gagne trying to shoot one. Hit the side of the net. Rebound behind the goal. Hopped up into the air and winds up in the crowd with 50 seconds left to go in the first period. Brian Bellows, we mentioned, a key for the North Stars tonight because the North Stars depend on just a couple of players for a lot of their offense, and Bellows really not much of a factor in Game 3 here the other night, but he has been a force here in Game 4 in the first period. Mike Keenan wants his 32nd timeout here. The Hawks with half a minute left to go on this Minnesota power play. So the North Stars at the tail end of the period with an opportunity to add to this 2-0 lead, but Mike Keenan just trying to give his penalty killers a little time to catch some air, and he wants to try to finish the period with his best and not fall any further behind than he is already. But I would imagine that Chicago dressing room in the first intermission is going to be rather lively, and I think there's only going to be one guy doing the talking. So Keenan uses his timeout. And it'll be Troy Murray and Mike Hudson out with Conroy and Brown. The North Stars come with Modano, Bellows, Barber, Murphy, and Neil Broughton. That's Belfour, as we mentioned, on in relief in Game 2 of Greg Millen. After the Hawks fell behind 3-0, he has yet to be scored on. In his very brief playoff career, this just his second appearance. Here's the draw to Neil Broughton. Broughton gave it to Murphy on the near side. Larry Murphy shoots one. Bellows, Barber couldn't tip it, and now Barber a chance. Big save by Belfour. Rebound cleared to the far corner. Bellows bounce it to the line. Neil Broughton a long flip shot and a save by Belfour to Brown. He bounces it up the boards, and Hudson able to muscle it back to center ice. Now the Hawk penalty is over. Both teams are back at full strength with 20 seconds left in the period. There's Doug Wilson for Presley. Gains the line and lost it in traffic. Taken by Brent Yanni at center, clearing it into the North Star zone, but the Hawks will run out of time. And a terrific first period put together by the North Stars here tonight. A little discussion here at the end of the period as a couple of players come together. But the officials look like they'll be able to keep the peace. And a dominant first period by Minnesota, reflected by the shots on goal, which are 17 for Minnesota, a meager 4 for Chicago. The North Stars' 2 goals both came from Don Barber. The first assist, a very brief one. He shut out the North Stars for about 50 minutes in his first appearance and weathered the storm in the second half of the first period here tonight. 17-4, the North Stars outshot the Blackhawks. And here we go with period 2. Murphy back of his own net, put it around the boards. Presley keeps it in. Centered one, just missing Gilbert in front. Out comes Bellows. Brian Bellows steps over the Hawk line, and Don Barber was 2 strides offside. And they may rule that. They are going to rule that an intentional offside. So the draw brought all the way back into the North Star zone.
Well, Greg Millen appears to have cooled down a little bit, but if I was Greg Millen, I wouldn't get too comfortable. You never know. He might get back in there before more long either. But Belfour came in and replaced him after a 3-0 deficit in Game 2. Did an outstanding job. Didn't get a lot of work, but made some key saves in a 5-on-3 situation in that game. And then made a couple of good saves late in the period on a North Star power play.
Well, Greg Millen certainly still is in it. He's trying to encourage his teammates. Really not only what he brings to the team as far as goaltending is concerned, I think he's really a pretty good team guy. He seems to be well liked by his new teammates. And doing what he can now to try to help him get back in it. Here's the play into the Chicago zone. Out to center and Hudson. Feeding Gilbert to the line. He couldn't hold the pass. Sutter to the near corner. Rolled it behind for Gilbert against Chambers. Now Sutter to the far corner. Tied up on the board. Savard dug it out of there. Walks into the deep slot. Savard still has a stick handling in. He shoots one and a save by Casey. Rebound to the far board. Savard harassed there by Murphy. Cleared, not out. Wilson, a long shot. Casey muffed it, but got enough to deflect it over top of the net. Bellows wants an icing call, but he hit linesman Finn rather at center. That is Asseltine, not Ron Finn, who was the announced linesman. It's Civic and Asseltine, the linesman here tonight. Now taken by Wilkinson. His pass stolen by Yanni, shooting it in. Now cleared just outside the line, taken by Neil Broughton. Broughton in on Manson on the far side. Broughton a one-hand pass, but it's stolen by Secord, beating Steve Larmer. Larmer crosses the Minnesota line, left it for Savard, walks into the deep slot, shoots one, and he missed the net. Rebound to the North Star. Aaron Broughton. Around the boards to Stuart Gavin. Gavin able to clear it to the Chicago end. Manson to Roenick. Now Thomas at center. Clearing it ahead. He had Presley wide open, but missed him with a pass. Presley chasing behind the Minnesota goal. Presley a quick turn. Now moves to the side of the net, trying to stuff it in. Shot wide, and Casey then able to corral it right at the far goal post. A threat by the Hawks, but Casey holds them off.
Top off your Easter Sunday at the Chicago Stadium. The Olympic skaters will be at the stadium Sunday night at 5:30. Good tickets still available at the stadium box office. Retard your tickets by calling 312-902-1919. Wayne Elvis Presley in behind the net. Scored a beautiful goal in Game 3. Tries to wrap around and shanks off his stick over to Roenick. Roenick hacks at it. Casey's able to get over and put the glove on it.
Gaetan Duchesne bumped on the near side. Able to jam it out of there, though, to Modano. He's bumped off the puck by fellow rookie Roenick, and it's shot back into the North Star end. Larry Murphy. His pass stolen by Doug Wilson. Back over the North Star line. Gave it to Presley, trying to walk in. Couldn't pull the trigger. Taken away and cleared to the Hawk line. Now Modano into the Chicago zone. Trying to shoot one. It deflects wide. And picked up by Troy Murray, who couldn't get by Duchesne along the boards. Now Modano, a quick shot, gloved easily by Belfour to Thomas. Beating Troy Murray at center ice. Got it into the North Star zone, and Chicago heads for a change. Taken by Giles, back of his own net. Now Murphy, whose pass deflects to center. Creighton back over the North Star line, but Chicago ruled offside, or rather a stick above the shoulder violation. Early in period 2, Minnesota 2, Chicago nothing. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
You ready to find your place in the world, Chowderhead?
I thought you were going to save me a place.
Hey, man, school's out. You're on your own, baby.
Spare me. Where you parked?
Cavalier up ahead.
That's yours?
Yeah, just got it. It was between that and the Ford Escort, but Chevy had more room, more horsepower.
Nice.
Also, I was reading in the books, percentage-wise, it says a higher resale down the line.
Down the line? You're thinking down the line you just bought it.
This is how an adult thinks.
I miss college already.
Creighton with Van Dorp and Sutter for Chicago. Berezan, McRae, and Churla for Minnesota. Here's the draw. Shot into the Blackhawk zone. Belfour put it around the boards. Van Dorp whacked it to the Minnesota line. Giles has it there. Gave it to Basil McRae, the North Star captain. McRae, stick handled around Van Dorp, got it over the Hawk line. A quick shot saved by Belfour. There's going to be a penalty now along the far side against Chicago. Van Dorp ruled to have gotten the stick up on Churla, and the North Stars head to a power play. 4 minutes gone in the second, 2-0 Minnesota.
For 3, the North Stars. Van Dorp for high sticking. Got the lumber up on Churla inside the Hawk line, and the North Stars looking to add to their 2-0 lead.
Now the draw. Gagne behind the net to Dahlin. Ulf Dahlin got tied up in the corner. Conroy whacked it loose, but right to Bellows. Around to the near side, Neil Broughton put it back into the corner. Brown battling Bellows there. Now Neil Broughton, side of the net to Gagne, turns in behind. Gagne threw it through the goal mouth to Neil Broughton on the near side. Broughton to the deep slot. Murphy touch pass to Gagne, cutting in. He tries to center. It deflects off the skate of Conroy to Larmer, who cleared.
Casey coming out of the net to play it, fell down.
But no damage done for the North Stars, and Larry Murphy clears it to the Chicago zone. Yanni goes back, icing washed out. Now Wilson battles it loose. Savard hacked it, not out. Gagne keeps it in. To the near circle, Bellows. His pass deflecting to Yanni, who's got some time and clears it. 45 seconds for the North Star power play. Neil Broughton now has room to center. He'll clear it in. Over to the far side. Broughton has it for Minnesota. Gave it to Modano, who had it poke checked by Roenick. The race is on. Roenick in on Neil Broughton, trying to cut for the net. Roenick knocked down. There'll be a penalty against Neil Broughton. And that'll take care of the North Star power play. In 24 more seconds, the Hawks will have one of their own.
Now Roenick stripping the puck in a dangerous spot inside the Hawk line. Roenick, who injured his leg late in the third period of game 3, trying to pull away from Broughton. Broughton, a forward on the point, pretty good speed, does a good job, pulls Roenick down. Roenick unable to pull the trigger as he appeared to have a step on him. And then he went crashing into Casey. It's been a tough series for Casey, but Roenick couldn't stop his momentum, and he went right into Casey and into the net. So in 24 seconds, the Blackhawks will get their second power play of the night. Neil Broughton tripping at 5:32.
So 4 aside for the next few seconds. Berezan and Roenick get ready for the draw. And it's taken by Giles. Kurt Giles gave it to Berezan at center. Gets it over the Chicago line. Knocked down by Creighton from behind. Roenick picks it up. Leading Creighton to center. Creighton into the North Star zone. Dropped it to Manson. His long wrist shot bouncing wide of the net. Taken by Roenick. The Hawk penalty now over Chicago on the power play. Roenick got around a check, cutting and shoots. That hit somebody who had fallen in front of the goal, and it's underneath the fallen Giles.
The Giles fell on top of Creighton. Roenick couldn't get it through both of them, trying to get a shot from a sharp angle along the boards on the far side in the corner. He's hooked in the process. Then let the shot go as he fell to the ice, but Creighton and Giles were already on top of each other in front of Casey.
Well, the Hawks with a power play now for a minute and a half. This particular special team has been a trouble spot for Chicago in the final quarter of the regular season and here in this initial series.
Only 4 goals on the power play. Half of their total. 8 goals they've scored. And this is game 4.
Now the draw taken by Doug Wilson. The long shot. Oh, he fired it just wide of the far post. Held in by Yanni. Cleared it around the boards. Savard on the far side. Slipped it to the line, and Wilson. Back to Savard. He tries to feed Wilson at the near point. Flipped it to the side of the net. Thomas, his shot blocked by Wilkinson, who cleared it to Aaron Broughton. And he sweeps it out to center ice. Hawks dump it right back in. Giles back with time. Clearing. Oh, he had Neil Broughton breaking. Hawks catch a break as Mike Civic couldn't quite get out of the way. Giles with another steal. He fires this one down all the way.
Well, that was a big break because it's a breakaway shorthanded if it gets by Civic. That's not an easy task in itself.
Now Gilbert into the North Star zone on the left side. Dropped it to Wilson at the line. Near point to Brown. Half a minute for the Chicago power play. Keith Brown with a long shot and a save by Casey. Rebound Chambers. Pushed it around the boards. Brown keeps it in. Back into the near corner. Chambers got hogtied there. Wilkinson helped out but failed to clear it. Now a Bellows steal. Brian Bellows gets it over the Chicago line. Unable to get around Doug Wilson. Ahead for Larmer. Steve Larmer to the North Star zone, trying to feed Roenick. He cuts in. A diving poke check prevented a shot. And the North Stars now steal. The penalty's over. Here's a lead for Neil Broughton right out of the box. He's in alone. The shot. Belfort. Rebound. They score. No. Is it a goal or not? Now the red light goes on. And the North Stars lead 3-0.
Well, you've got to be aware of the time on the clock in a situation like that. Broughton comes out of the box. All alone. The pass right on the money. Belfort made the save. Nice pass. I believe it was McRae who made the pass. Bellows. I should say Belfort kick save, and then on the rebound, that thing never went in the net. It hit the crossbar in the post, and I don't. Broughton pulls it to his forehand. Good kick save by Belfort. McRae comes in, hits the post and the crossbar. I don't know if it went in behind Belfort.
McRae gets the goal. The Hawks didn't argue about it. Neil Broughton, the only assist on McRae's goal at 7:42. 3-0 North Stars, and we're going to have, I believe, a penalty coming up here against Chicago, and the Hawks are in a heap of trouble. North Stars head to the power play, and they lead 3-0 as we pause for a regional break. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
Come on, sport.
Smile.
We interrupt this vacation
Charge it.
for a reminder. There's a better way to go.
Here you are.
Just choose the card that actually pays you cash back for every charge. The Discover card.
Fabulous.
It pays to Discover, the card that pays you back.
The North Stars will get their fifth power play. Yanni for high sticking. Meanwhile, as Broughton came out of the penalty box, he gets a break. Belfort makes a good kick save. He's down, can't get back up. McRae gets back there before everyone. Beats Brown to the rebound and hits the post after hitting the crossbar. And then it must have hit Belfort and gone behind him, because from that angle it appeared it didn't ever go in the net. But the Hawks didn't argue, so it must have gone in after it hit the post.
North Stars on a power play now. Yanni for high sticking. A long shot by Bellows. The save. Rebound. And another save by Belfort. Comes loose to the near side. Now behind the net, Dolan. Got help from Bellows. Bellows to the near point. Neil Broughton. A centering pass missing Dolan. He gets to it behind the goal. Rolf Dolan leaves it there for Gagne. Dave Gagne slipped it in front, and nobody could get to it for the North Stars. It trickles back to center ice. Neil Broughton got knocked down by Hudson, then stolen by Presley, but he couldn't advance it as Broughton recovered to tie him up. Here comes Murphy over the Chicago line. Peels off to the far board. Now Murphy walks in front, centered it. Came through to Bellows in the near corner. He put it in front, stolen by Hudson. And Mike Hudson puts it behind the North Star goal with a minute remaining on the Minnesota power play. 11 minutes for the second period. 3-0 North Stars. Here's a Savard steal, trying to feed Larmer, but he got knocked down in the slot. Savard now in the Minnesota zone. Put it to the line. Manson cutting in, shooting, and a save by Casey. Rebound to the North Stars. Here comes Chambers, racing in on the right side. Pushed it into the Chicago zone. Savard packed it loose behind the net. Stolen by Aaron Broughton. Got it to the line. Wilkinson along, wrist shot blocked by Savard. Wilkinson then held it in. Centering tip. And as Madano's redirection didn't get through. Now Barber behind the net, trying to stuff it in. Belfort hanging on the far post. And he gets a whistle.
Well, action in the North Star zone with some good work by Savard, taking it away from Murphy. The North Stars come right back. Wilkinson puts it in traffic and deflects off Broughton. Broughton gets flattened by Wilson. Barber in behind the net looking for his second career hat trick. And Broughton down on his knees trying to jam it in as Belfour had his leg up against the post. Dave Manson cranked one up. Savard with a good pass. And a good save by Casey with Larmer cutting in front of him on a short-handed opportunity. 14 seconds to go on the high-sticking penalty to Yanni. 10-14 to go in the period. The North Stars with the lone goal of this period and a 3-0 lead.
Roenick and Modano will square him up. Not anymore. Modano tossed out. Aaron Broughton will step in. Now the draw taken by Brown. Pete Brown sweeps it loose to Larmer. He feeds to center. Now ahead for Roenick over the line. A swing and a miss as he tried to tee up a slapper. Roenick turns on the near board to the line. Brown a long shot. Hits somebody in front to Larmer. He tried to stuff it in. And a nice save by Casey. The Hawk penalty over now. Both teams back at full strength. Conroy in the North Star end for Thomas. A bouncing puck. Now Larmer a shot. Deflected right on. And a save by Casey. Rebound came loose to the North Stars. And the Don Barber clears. Hawks dump it back into the Minnesota zone. Presley behind the net dueling with Chambers. Aim loose to the near side. Thomas got to it. Turns in behind the goal. Thomas the wraparound and a save by Casey. Laying loose. And Aaron Broughton able to pick it up. And the North Stars clear out to center ice. Doug Wilson puts Presley to the line. Presley dropped it back to Wilson far side. Here's the drive. It didn't get through. Now the goal knocked off the moorings. The whistle sounds. 9 minutes remaining in period 2. The North Stars all over the Hawks. They lead 3-0. We pause for a regional break. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
All our lives, we've been fascinated by horses. They're part of the romance of America. They help settle the West. They've taken us from place to place, haul heavy loads, help plant and harvest our crops. But the most wonderful thing a horse can do is run.
Blackhawks putting some pressure on the North Stars, trying to get the first goal of the game to cut the deficit. Larmer shot, hacked at by Roenick. Thomas overskates it. Modano gloves it ahead. The North Stars finally able to clear and force another face-off.
Which is between Troy Murray and Perry Berezan. Murray won the draw, trying to walk in front, got yanked down, and the puck came loose to the near corner. Secor. His pass stolen by McRae. Here's a 3-on-2 for the North Stars. And over the line is Berezan dropping to Churla. His shot deflects wide. And Wilson and McRae battle behind the net. Then Churla dug it out of there. Unable to make a play with it. They hack away along the boards, and Doug Wilson able to gather it in. Feeding Troy Murray. Murray sends it into the North Star zone. Berezan got it to McRae on the near side, and he fires it back the other way. It'll be an icing call here against Minnesota.
Well, the North Stars can afford to do that. Ahead 3-0 in their own building. Also make the safe play. No one open, and they just fire it. Get a face-off, get some new people on the ice. Hawks are going to have to start taking some chances and start expending some energy here down 3-0. A low-scoring series. John Casey has been very sharp when called upon here in the early stages of the second period. A combination of great pressure by the North Stars and some bad penalties by the Blackhawks have really put them in the hole.
Gilbert and Larmer on there now. It's Gagne, Bellows, and Barber for the North Star. Now the draw to the far point. Yanni lets go the long shot. Didn't get through. Over to the corner. Gilbert kicked it loose behind the net. Casey sends it around the boards. Bellows couldn't get it out. Back into the near corner it goes. Picked up now by Gagne. And here come the North Stars. Don Barber. 3-on-3 over the line. Couldn't get around Yanni. Belfour out to sweep it away. Got it to Larmer at center. Dumps it in, hoping for Gilbert, who gets there, then shoots one, and he hit the side of the goal. Rebound to the far circle. Giles on it for the North Stars. Had it knocked loose behind the net. Gilbert gathers it in. Gave it to Savard. Walks over to the near circle. Savard to his backhand. Now the turnaround shot is blocked to Larmer. He's knocked down. There'll be a penalty. And the Blackhawks, with their best couple of shifts of the game, creating a little pressure in the North Star zone. And as a result, they'll head to a power play. They need to cash in with 7.5 to go in the second. 3-0 Minnesota. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
True Value hardware stores can change the look of your home with just a change of color. Choose from beautiful designer colors with True Test quality-proven Easy Care flat finish. And no matter what color you choose, this spatter-resistant finish will stay beautiful for years. So look at your color options and give any room a brand new look with True Test Easy Care flat finish, specially priced at just $10.98 a gallon at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Blackhawks coming on, putting some pressure, trying to get their first goal of the night. Larmer, in his attempt to turn and shoot on a loose puck, was taken down by Bellows, and the Hawks get their third power play of the night. Bellows for a holding. Blackhawks' third power play. They're 0 for 2. Haven't had much success with the power play in 3 of the 4 games. They had good success in game 2. Got them back in as they trailed 3-0.
Now Wilson in the deep slot. Shoveled it over to Savard, who shoots one. It deflects wide. And Berezan clears. Doug Wilson starts Chicago back. Minnesota lining up for a cross, forcing Wilson to dump it in. Presley to the far board, back to the line in Wilson. Near point to Bob Murray. His wrist shot gloved by Casey, as Presley had a wave at it but couldn't get any lumber on it. And the shot stopped by John Casey.
Bob Murray just had to wrist it towards the net. They were up high in the box, forcing the appointment. He had to get it through. Got it by Gavin, right on net. Presley swatted at it, but good concentration shown by Casey, standing up and leaving no rebound with traffic in front. Excellent save percentage for John Casey, .912 in this series.
There's the draw, cleared back to the Hawk line. That's not much different than he was in the regular season, Dale. Casey stopped 90% of the shots he faced in regular season play. Here comes Savard over the line. Aired it into the near corner. Thomas and Giles bang there. Came loose for Duchesne, who couldn't get it out. Back of the net, Savard. To the near corner, Thomas. Steve Thomas hanging on. Slipped it to Bob Murray at the line. Gave it to Wilson, deep slot. Put it to Savard, who fakes. Back to Wilson. It deflected away off Broughton's stick out to center ice. Now here's Presley over the line, faking, then shooting. He just missed the far post with a low, hard shot. Back of the net is Larmer. Banked it to Wilson. Out to the line and Savard, whose pass is stolen by Chambers. He couldn't get it out. Wilson hacked it into the slot. A bouncing puck there, and Larmer got to it. Now Savard along the far board. Put it to Larmer. The shot is blocked out in front, and again it's underneath a couple of fallen players. So the whistle sounds.
Nothing coming easy with the power play for the Blackhawks. Good job by Wilson to keep that play alive. And Chambers' high clearing attempt gloved down by Wilson towards the ice and then kept in and hacked at by Larmer, and then his shot didn't get through. Larmer, who started things off for the Blackhawks in Game 3, scored the first goal of the game 50 minutes and 12 seconds into it. 14 seconds still remaining on Bellows' holding penalty. The last North Star goal by McRae came at the end of a Hawk power play when Broughton came out of the box, was put in by McRae, and on the rebound of a Broughton shot, McRae put it off the crossbar in the post past Belfer.
Here's Dave Manson, a long shot. Casey, nice save. Rebound to Berezan. He cleared it to center ice. And that does it for the Hawk power play. Both teams now back at full strength. Dumped into the North Star zone. Creighton had it knocked away by Murphy, then got it back centering. Picked off by Bellows. Ryan Bellows leads the North Star counterattack. Gains the line, trying to center. Taken away by Manson. Then the Hawks come back the other way. Larmer steps in there, shoots one. Casey the pad save, and it's cleared back into Chicago ice. Keith Brown to Wayne Presley over the line, trying to center it, missing Secord in front. Now Troy Murray to Secord in the corner, had it knocked loose. Back into the Chicago zone. Conroy has trouble with Dahlen. They battle on the far side. Conroy wants a whistle and gets one by falling on top of the puck with 4.5 minutes left in the second period. Still the Hawks have failed to score. 3-0 Minnesota.
This is 10,000 people in both games in the playoffs against St. Louis. 3-2 now, Toronto leading in the third period. Brendamore with 2 goals. Toronto trying to stave off elimination.
This series heading back to Chicago Stadium Thursday night, Game 5 in Chicago. We'll have it for you right here. And now we're going to have a penalty coming up against the North Stars. I believe Madonna roughed up Presley in the corner, and Mike Madonna got the lumber up on Presley, so the Blackhawks will get another power play chance. It's Minnesota 3, Chicago nothing. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
Out of time. Down 3-0 with just over 4 minutes to go here in period 2. They're 1 for 9 in their first game. 3 for 13, I believe, in game 2.
Doug Wilson in his 74th career playoff game leads Bob Murray to the line. Bounce away from him to Giles, who clears. But the North Stars get a bad break as it winds up in the bench. So the faceoff will be in Minnesota territory.
You'd think the North Star penalty killing would be good, especially on home ice. It was terrific all season long. Only gave up like 24 goals, I believe, in regular season play on home ice. And Doug Jarvis, one of the assistant coaches, was a premier penalty killer in his career. I would imagine he has something to do with their success ratio. 1:26 remaining on the Madonna penalty. The fourth Blackhawk power play, 0 for 3 with few chances on either one of them.
North Stars win the draw. Duchesne clears. Neil Broughton won that face-off away from Creighton. And now Manson starts out of his own end. Gave it to Savard. Steps over the North Star line. Coughed it up, though, to Duchesne with plenty of time. He clears. A minute left on the Chicago power play. Here's Presley. Dumping it in. Thomas to the corner. Poked it back to the line. Yanni for Thomas near board. He hangs on, trying to center one, deflecting up off the glass. Back of the goal, Presley got knocked down. Thomas rolled it loose to Yanni at the near point. Put it across to Manson, who was calling for it. His shot doesn't get through. And the North Stars, Duchesne, sends it down all the way. One more power play rush for Chicago here. Manson bangs it in there. Casey shoveled it around the boards. Gavin got tied up. Thomas steals. Then got a hit from Wilkinson, but Thomas held the puck out to the line. Manson failed to hold it in there. North Star penalty is over. Gavin, a lead for Modano over the line. A shot blocked by Brown, trickling toward the net, and Belfour able to corral it. And again, the North Stars nearly had a great opportunity on a penalty that was expiring at the right time for them.
Well, that defenseman on that side's got to be careful, especially he's got to be aware of the time clock and what's happening. Modano, the shot that bounced off Brown right to Belfour, and he had difficulty with the glove hand, and finally got the glove on top of it as Roenick tried to strip it away and break out the other way. Well, the Hawk power play. 0 for 4, and not much on that one at all. They didn't get one scoring chance in the entire power play in this situation. You figure down 3-0. They would really work hard on that power play, but not much going on at all.
So the face-off will be to the right of Ed Belfour. Now Neil Broughton and Troy Murray will get ready for the face-off. Here it is. Taken by Giles back at center. Clearing it to the Hawk line. Now a big scrap along the near side right in front of the benches, and the whistle sounds, and here comes McRae in there late. A lot of pushing and shoving going on. Have not seen any punching done as yet. They're right up on the near side. We don't have a very good look at it from upstairs here, but the officials doing their best to try to keep the peace. McRae gonna grab Gilbert from behind. And now here we go at center as Sherla and Conroy drop the gloves. They're in a wrestling match. Sherla and Conroy are slugging it out. Oh, they're going. Sherla gets in a couple of big rights. And after they stood toe-to-toe, Sherla took over that one. Now a big scrap involving all the skaters in front of the Chicago bench. And it looks like a rugby scrum here as all the skaters on each team have piled up on top of one another. And now Conroy pulled out of there by Mike Civic. He stood toe-to-toe with Sherla for a couple of punches, but then Sherla got in a couple of big right hands, and he has really bloodied Steve Conroy. Now McRae and Murray, Troy Murray, are squared off, but so far nothing doing. Everybody looks like they're going to start to cool down. Maybe. Sutter and Neil Broughton grabbing one another around the bare Asseltine, needing all his strength to try to get them pulled apart. And now everybody looks like they'll separate. And they do. Well, the main bout in that altercation between Sherla and Conroy, and Steve Conroy, no wallflower when it comes to dropping him when needed, and boy, Shane Sherla gave him more than he wanted in that exchange. They were landing an equal number of blows in the early going, but then Sherla got in a couple of major rights and won that one decisively. And Toronto has stayed alive, the Blues. losing in Maple Leaf Gardens 4-2, and so Toronto able to capture their first victory of the series. St. Louis still leads 3-1. They'll have to go back to St. Louis on Thursday night. Well, after a penalty-filled regular season between these two teams, including a lot of major problems in the final regular season game in Chicago, the first 3 games of this series have not had too many altercations. There were all sorts of penalties in the first 2 games of the series, but many of them, in fact, the majority of the minor infractions, hooking and holding and so forth, and you've only had a couple of times where players have actually dropped them and slugged it out. But that was one, and quite a battle it was, with Churla eventually coming out on top. These teams used to lock horns a lot. It was almost an annual event between Chicago and Minnesota. 4 straight years they locked horns. The Hawks have won 3 out of the 4 previous series, and a couple of those times were major upsets, with Minnesota finishing with better regular seasons than Chicago, only to be upset by the upstart Blackhawks in postseason play. Dale, we have not had too many fisticuffs here in the first 4 games of this series, but it really breaks out here, and I guess you really had to figure just a matter of time at some point between these two teams.
Well, there were no altercations. It was well played up until this situation, so the North Stars, realizing the importance of the game, came out flying and stuck to basics. There was no nonsense up until this particular situation in the game. So conversation now with Koharski, and it looks like McRae might get probably some additional penalty minutes here and might be lost for the remainder of the 3rd period and maybe the game. Who knows? But it's been an excellent game as far as the North Stars. They had to stick to basics. They couldn't afford to take any penalties in this game.
I'll tell you, that's the victory by Churla in that fight. People might not be aware, because Steve Conroy does not that often drop the gloves, but when he does, he's a pretty rough customer. So that's
you're looking at a guy that doesn't play that much. Churla is a guy that plays limited ice, gets limited ice time, and Conroy, one of the mainstays of the Hawk defense. So, you know, those situations, sometimes you're tired, you're out there probably at the end of a shift maybe, and that's what happens. So a guy like Conroy, who usually handles himself quite well, and at the end of it probably exhausted from playing a regular shift, and a lot of the ice time has been in their own zone tonight, so Conroy probably exhausted, and Churla, who's known as a tough customer, as a good fighter, got the best of him late in it.
Well, it does not appear there's going to be any power plays either way here. We've had no announcements yet on the penalties, but nothing racked up on the score clock, so seems as if we'll be at equal strength here for the final 2 minutes of the 2nd period. The Hawks have been outshot so far in this game, 25-14. They started to come on a little bit, Dale, I thought, in the middle part of the 2nd period. The couple of shifts back-to-back where they created a little heat in the North Star zone for the first time all night, but John Casey holding them off, and now Chicago in a very deep hole.
You know, their inability to capitalize on their power play really has hurt them here in this 2nd period. They have had a couple of power plays, and neither one of them any good at all, and it's been pretty well the story, except for game 2 where they scored 3 goals, but they had 13 power play chances.
All right, now we have an extra penalty being racked up to Dwayne Sutter here. So the North Stars are going to indeed have another power play. All right, Minnesota power play to finish the 2nd period. They lead 3-0, but here's a Larmer steal. Now cleared it to Yanni in the neutral zone. And he shot it back at the North Star net. Larry Murphy gave it to Gagne. Now Neil Broughton bouncing one into the Chicago zone. Bellows racing after it. Took a whack but couldn't connect with a rolling puck. And Larmer gathers it in and clears out to Wilson. Doug Wilson battles his way over the North Star line. Put it to Larmer. The return pass. Big save by Casey. Rebound, and he stopped Larmer. Great save on Wilson, and then an equally good stop on a Larmer rebound. Now Now the North Stars look to move in. Bellows right around Manson, fires, and a save by Belfour. Rebound to the near side. Murphy holds it into the corner. Bellows on it. Back to Murphy along the boards. Moves out to the line. Murphy long wrist shot. Belfour stopped it. We're in the final minute of the period. Here's Murphy keeping it in. Deep slot to Neil Broughton. Gave it a Gagne far side. Back to Broughton. A long flip shot. Blocked out in front by Yanni. And then Presley picks it up. Presley in on Broughton on the far side. Trying to get around him. He did. Trying to cut for the net. And Murphy came sliding across to take it off Presley's stick. Half a minute remaining in the second period. Don Barber into the Chicago zone. Leaves it for Aaron Broughton. Gave it back to Barber, who tees it up. Shooting, and a save by Belfour. Rebound held in by Chambers. His pass picked out of midair by Larmer. Might be a 2-on-1 Larmer. In over the line. Peels off to wait for help, but didn't get any. And Chambers takes it away. Down to 5 seconds left. Chambers will crank from center ice. Belfour stops at the second period is history. Well, the North Stars battling their way back into this series. 20 minutes from evening up the series in the second period. Minnesota had 12 shots on goal. Chicago also with 12, and the two-period totals 29-16, favoring the North Stars. The only goal of the period, a good break for the North Stars at the tail end of a Minnesota penalty. Neil Broughton hopped out of the box in perfect time to receive a lead. He broke in alone on Belfour, who stopped him, but McCray.
2 periods, and they've got a pretty good lead, 3-0. The way Casey's played, it's tough for the Blackhawks, who have not done well when trailing after 2. 3 wins and 25 losses.
There's 3 seconds left on the Chicago penalty. Here's the draw. Both teams now back at full strength. And Chambers pushes it to the Chicago line. Now Yanni back of his own net. Around the boards. Gilbert couldn't get it out. Murphy trying to center one. It hit Wilson over to the far side and Secord. Weak clearing attempt picked off by Gagne to Chambers, who shoots one. Belfour stopped it. Rebound to Gilbert. And Greg Gilbert feeds Doug Wilson, who cranks a long shot. Casey stops that. Secord to the far side. Doesn't have much help as the Hawks are changing. Now he gets a little help. He centered one, but Barber there to pick it off. And he rolled one out to center. Dave Manson gave it to Bob Murray. Cranks it into the North Star zone. Aaron Broughton knocked down by Presley along the boards. Then dug out by Thomas, turning in behind. He centered it. Presley got knocked down. Here's Roenick. Big save by Casey. And John Casey continues his fine play in this series. If Roenick scores there, this game takes on a much different flavor. But the North Stars maintain a 3-0 lead. Now dumped into the Hawk zone. Belfour well out of the net. Gave it to Savard in the near corner. Gavin stepped into him. Now Savard able to jam it loose to Thomas. And he got it back to Savard. Savard racing in on Wilkinson on the near side. Crisscross into the slot. Taken away, then held in by Presley. He cuts in for the net. Knocked down by Giles with a good hip check. Hurt Giles takes it away. Leads Neil Broughton. Dumping it into the Blackhawk zone. Yanni for Savard. Back into Minnesota territory. Savard up the slot on his backhand shooting. Casey the save. Rebound. Trickling to the side of the net. The North Stars are there. And out they come. Here's a 4-on-2 rush. Over the line. Duchesne to Murphy cutting in. He shoots one. Blocked by Yanni. Trent Yanni, an excellent game so far for Chicago tonight. Now Madonna at center. Lost it there to Bob Murray. Flipping it behind the North Star goal. Joy Murray charging in there. Took a hit from Chambers. Now the puck squirts loose. Duchesne. Bump. Couldn't get it out. Van Dorp trying to stick handle in traffic. Got stopped. Now Creighton in the near corner. Out to the line. Manson, the long one-timer, didn't get anything on it. Trickling into the slot. Creighton able to pick it up there. He turns. Shoots one. Deflected right through the goal crease. Now to the near side. Van Dorp behind the net to Troy Murray on Chambers. He tries to stuff it in. Casey hugs the far post and then the net. Knocked off the mooring. Well, a good start for Chicago, but that man, John Casey, another fine outing here tonight.
3 shutouts throughout the regular season. One of them against the Blackhawks right off the bat in October. They stopped Roenick, and then Savard on the backhand as he got by the defense. Larmer was yanked down. Good kick save by Casey moving forward. Then Doug Wilson swatted at a bouncing puck, and it never got through traffic. The Blackhawks trying to create more traffic in front of the net for Casey for potential rebounds or screenshots. First save of the period on Roenick. Roenick didn't appear to get much on the shot. He was hooked at the last second by Broughton. Steve Thomas tried to wrap around. The puck deflected past Presley to Roenick, and Roenick was hooked at the last second, and Casey able to put the glove on the weak shot.
Now the draw. Thomas on the far board trying to center it. Casey poked it away from Roenick. Wilson able to pick it up. Gave it to Thomas behind the goal. He got tied up there. Now Thomas yanked down from behind. The puck squirts loose. Roenick trying to battle away with Giles, but the North Stars win control. And Murphy clearing it down into the Chicago zone. Yanni cleared it to the far corner. Now the North Stars able to keep it in for a moment. Yanni behind his own goal to Wilson. Left wing boards to Thomas. He was poke checked, failed to get it out. Barber to the deep slot. He's got 2 goals tonight. He sent it with Gagne. They score! Great pass by Don Barber, and Gagne had an open side to fire it in. 4-0 Minnesota.
Casey shuts the door at one end. A brilliant play by Barber after Thomas coughed it up. Something he's been prone to do in the regular season. A little cute move in his own zone. Had it stripped away. Barber took it from him, drifted over to the far side, and went back against the flow to a great pass to Gagne, who stuck in behind everyone. Wilson went up high. Gagne alone in front, and he made no mistake on the one-timer. Belfour had no chance. What a play by Barber after he took it away from Steve Thomas.
2 goals and an assist for Don Barber. And that a beautiful play to give Gagne a rather easy goal.
Gagne gets his first.
Well, you get a hat trick for 3 goals, not 3 points, but the North Star fans so excited they can't contain themselves. And Barber with his 3rd point, including 2 goals.
Well, they give another assist to Bellows. But the Blackhawks coming out of the gate put all kinds of pressure on the North Stars. Casey shuts the door, makes 2 or 3 good saves. They give away their own zone, and the North Stars make the Blackhawks pay.
And there, while we have a second, we better make mention of the fact that the North Stars, how about their defense corps tonight? They lost Musil in the first period. They've been going with 5 since then, and they certainly have not been victimized by being a man short defensively. And when they've had a problem or two, John Casey's been there, but really the Hawks in the middle part of the second period had a couple of good shifts. They had an excellent start here in the 3rd, but Casey, the key, saves at the right time, and Minnesota comes right back to the other end and makes it 4-0. Here's Aaron Broughton trying to dump it in and winds up in the penalty box. Early in the 3rd period, North Stars 4, Blackhawks nothing. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
She's all ours.
Going into business, got something new. Gonna paint the town, red, white, and blue. All coming through.
Nice place. How about some customers?
Ladies' night.
Great place, guys. Who did your decorating?
All Minnesota here in Game 4. The North Stars come out of the gate flying in the first period, and they've added a goal in each of the other periods.
Here's Duchesne. in his own end. He couldn't get it out. Troy Murray flipped it to Bob Murray, putting it in behind the goal. Now Madano couldn't get it out. Troy Murray at the far point. Shot it around the boards. Hudson wouldn't field it. Creighton does. And Chambers knocked it off his stick. And it's cleared out to center ice. Here come the North Stars now. Dahlen over the Chicago line. Off Dahlen. Turns behind the net on Bob Murray. Dahlen still has control. Creighton now trying to neutralize him. Off Dahlen in the corner. Got help there from Madano. Now Manson able to take it away. Manson will fire a long shot from center. Casey steers it to the far side, and Duchesne to Murphy. His pass deflecting at center. Corralled by Gilbert. Gave it to Wilson. Steps into the North Star zone. Wilson around Murphy. Centered it. Savard to the shot. He just missed the near post. Now Wilson with a drive. Blocked by Gavin. And here's Gilbert picking it up in the far corner. Battles behind the net. Got it loose to Savard. He walks out in front. The shot. Casey again. And the North Stars will take an icing call here. John Casey. Brilliant here tonight in Game 4.
Doug Wilson started with a nice move. Got it over to Savard. His first scoring chance, shot wide. Then the Hawks pick it back up. Gilbert with the work in the corner. Got it loose to Savard. Savard, good job to put his left leg out to fend off Madano. And the quick save by Casey on the wrist shot. Prior to that, though, Doug Wilson, nice move to get around Murphy. Into Savard. Savard drifts to his right. And I don't know if Casey got a piece of that, but the shot just wide of the near post.
Roenick and Gagne off to the right of Casey. Now the draw. Conroy had a shot deflect over the glass into the crowd. John Casey making his 8th appearance in postseason play here tonight. And he's never been able to attain a shutout in Stanley Cup action. He's 14 and a half minutes away from getting one here tonight.
23 wins this year at home for Casey, 31 overall. He had a great year against the Blackhawks. 4-1-1 in the regular season.
Savard and Neil Broughton ready. Here's Savard winning the draw to Wilson. His long shot deflecting up over the glass into the crowd.
Wilson with a ton of experience. Has always had good success here in this building. He loves playing here. The ice is terrific, and he likes to shoot the puck on this good ice.
1 assist in this series so far for a Blackhawk standout. Savard, Larmer, and Gilbert on there against Neil Broughton with brother Aaron and Gavin. Here's the draw. Neil Broughton rolled it to the Hawk line. Brent Yanni has had a good game for Chicago. Bounces one ahead. Savard able to dig it loose. His pass stolen by Aaron Broughton. Got it back of the Hawk goal. Yanni now gave it to Wilson in his own end. Up the boards to Gilbert. Now Savard. Dennis Savard over the Minnesota line. A back pass to Larmer. Kicked it forward to his stick, then left it for Thomas. The shot is blocked at the North Star defense by Chambers. And back in the neutral zone is Manson. Gave it to Thomas, whose pass is stolen by Barber. Now Thomas able to get it back over the North Star line. Storming in behind the goal. Thomas had it knocked away to Gagne. And now Don Barber. Gave it to Brian Bellows. Over the Hawk line. Lost it to Creighton. Adam Creighton leads Chicago back, putting Thomas in over the line. His shot is deflected over the glass into the crowd. 13 and a half minutes remaining in the third period. Minnesota 4, Chicago nothing. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
They're only playing with 40.
Help you? Just looking.
We interrupt this browsing for another useful tool.
Perfect.
The card that actually pays you cash back for every charge.
That's it.
The Discover card.
Thanks for just browsing.
It pays to discover the card that pays you back.
We talked about the North Star defensemen playing terrific hockey. They're only playing with 4. Usil was injured. Tenorti has not seen much ice time since the first period. And the last 3 Blackhawk shots either deflected into the seats or blocked by North Star defensemen. Giles and Murphy out there, and Giles has had a terrific night. 85th game or 84th game for Giles in playoff competition.
Edmonton has caught Winnipeg 3-3 in the third. LA has grabbed a 1-0 lead over Calgary in the first period of their game, and you joined us late. Toronto stayed alive. They knocked off St. Louis 4-2.
The Blackhawks had a wonderful opportunity here to really make things easy for themselves going home for the next game, but off to a poor start. The North Star is flying out of the gate, got a 2-0 lead, and played well the rest of the time.
Now here's Greg Gilbert turning on the near board. Gilbert center one. Roenick trying to stop it, and Casey again. Rebound to Giles. Or Giles for Gagne. Oh, now a high stick. Giles got the stick up on Gilbert right in front of Don Koharski. And Kurt Giles will be sent off here. It might be a major. Let's see what Don Koharski is going to do. Certainly at a minimum, the Hawks are going to have a power play chance with 13 minutes left in the third. It's 4-0 North Stars as we pause for a regional break. This is Chicago.
Comes in, takes the body. Giles puts the stick right into the face of Gilbert. Gilbert goes down. Koharski puts the arm up, and the Blackhawks' 5th power play of the night. They're 0 for 4, but meanwhile, prior to that, Jeremy Roenick, who's had 3 or 4 quality chances, gets thwarted once again by John Casey, who's been very good here in the early part of the third.
Well, this is an absolute must convert for Chicago if they're to have any hopes of coming back here tonight. Trailing 4-0 with under 13 minutes left. Doug Wilson hoisting one into the North Star zone. Chambers bumped by Roenick, who stole it out to the line. Bob Murray across for Wilson. Here it comes. Casey the save. Rebound cleared. Back to the Chicago zone.
No one in front of the net, making it easier for Casey. And he was able to see it all the way and kick it away.
Bob Murray putting it over the line. Savard weaves to the deep slot. Now tees it up, but holds on. Now shoots one. Hit his own man in front. And we have an injured player, Wayne Presley, trying to provide a screen on Casey. Got nailed with Savard's hard shot.
Presley getting it right in the jaw. If it gets by Presley, it's in. And Savard was trying to go high to the glove side, and it hit Presley in front.
He might have been screened by the North Star player, Wilkinson. I don't think he ever saw that till he felt it.
Well, you talk about players using their head, but this not in the right way to use your head. Presley didn't pick it up till it was right on him, and it hit him right in the head. He couldn't get out of the way of it. If it gets by Presley, it's 4-1 Minnesota.
Now the draw. Bouncing at center. Neil Broughton got to it, clearing. And a minute remains on the Chicago power play. Here comes Roenick. Motors to the line. Coughed it up there. The North Star is clear. Here's Neil Broughton racing around Bob Murray. He cuts in. Belfour, a poke check to save. A good opportunity for Broughton. Now Murphy wasting a little time to Chambers. He fires it down the length. Half a minute to go in the Blackhawk power play. Bob Murray trying to shoot it in, couldn't get it deep. Cleared back to center. Now Savard. Forced to turn by Chambers. Finally now gets it over the North Star line. Gave it to Van Dorp on the near board. Wilkinson poked it away, but not out. Savard to Van Dorp near circle, trying to center one. Stolen by Gavin, who clears to the neutral zone. Now taken away from Manson there by Berezan, centering Gavin, and he couldn't get to the loose puck. The North Star penalty is over. Both teams back at full strength. Now Bob Murray gave it to Creighton, putting Troy Murray over the line on Giles. Peels off on the far side and rolled it in behind the goal. Duchesne hammers it not out. Then it did trickle past Wilson to center. And Yanni moves back in. Bouncing one toward the net. Gloved by Casey, who hangs on. We are halfway through the third period. Minnesota 4, Chicago nothing as we pause for a regional break. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
You're gonna have to face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love.
Now the North Stars 10 minutes away from tying up this series. There's the draw. Keith Brown unable to hold it in. Cleared it back of the North Star net. Delayed offside now washed out as the Hawks cleared the zone. And meanwhile Giles got it to center. Couldn't advance it any further. Here's Murphy in his own end. Bounced it to the far side. Giles jammed it loose on the boards. Here comes Murphy. Gets it over the Hawk line, put it to Barber, and the play is ruled to be offside anyway.
Well, Murphy had a terrific year offensively for the North Stars. 58 assists. Led the team in scoring as far as defensemen are concerned. Blackhawks looking for some offense from some people that I haven't had any offense in this playoff series. Some people that really finished poorly offensively too. Creighton, Troy Murray, Jeremy Roenick. At least Roenick has had some chances.
Now it's shot into the North Star zone. Van Dorp to the corner. Got away from Modano, then was knocked down behind the net by Chambers. Troy Murray picks it up. Got bumped in the corner. Chambers takes it away. Shot it to center ice. North Stars flip it in. Taken by Manson. Van Dorp. He couldn't field it along the boards. Now Manson in his own end. Gave it to Greg Gilbert. Gilbert on left wing over the line. Got a big hit from Gavin. Then Savard carried on looking for Gilbert, whose shot is blocked in front of the net. And Wilkinson gathers it in for Minnesota. Hammers it all the way back into the Chicago zone. Taken by Doug Wilson. He got it to Savard. And a North Star steal by Murphy. Got it into the Chicago zone. Taken by Trent Yanni. Yanni bumped in behind the Blackhawk net. A couple of others joining in. Nobody can get control. Now it came loose to the far side. Larmer picks it up. And Steve Larmer bangs it down into the North Star end. Neil Broughton. Long feed. Deflects into the Chicago zone. Taken by Keith Brown. pass, deflecting at center. And Wilkinson flipped it ahead, then paid the price as Roenick delivered a big hit. Presley now couldn't clear his own end. Barazan bounced it back of the Blackhawk goal. Steve Conroy gave it to Thomas on left wing. His pass stolen by McRae. Pushed it back into the Chicago end. Belfour clears it himself to Conroy. Conroy for Troy Murray into the North Star zone. There's going to be a penalty. Here's Van Dorp going after Churla in front of the benches. Everybody's standing up. We can't get a look. Now we do as Van Dorp trying to get him an altercation with Shane Churla. It appeared that Churla just attempted to back away, and it would I would think now the Hawks are going to be shorthanded again. 7.5 to go in the third period. It's Minnesota 4, Chicago nothing. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey.
Blackhawks finishing the game like they started it, taking some unnecessary penalties. Meanwhile, good collision with Roenick and Wilkinson. Roenick initiating the contact, and then as the players went to the bench, double minor called on Van Dorp for taking a poke at Churla, an interference and roughing penalties at 12:35.
So the North Stars with a chance to pad the lead. A 4-minute power play will be theirs. The double minor to Van Dorp, and with just 7.5 left in this one. Really about the only question left is, can John Casey complete his first career playoff shutout?
Well, Minnesota 1 for 5 on the power play. Blackhawks 0 for 5 with the power play.
There's Larry Murphy for Dave Gagne. Gagne steps over the Hawk line, cleared it around the boards. Bellows near corner. Brian Bellows to Murphy at the line. Long wrist shot. Belfour saw it all the way. Gloves. Wanted to play it, but Don Koharski sounds the whistle.
Well, Los Angeles has a 4-0 lead and a 2-1 lead over the defending Stanley Cup champion Calgary Flames. Belfour wanted to play that. Well, Greg Millen not too happy on the Hawk bench. He was yanked from the starting lineup at 11:41 of the first period after Barber's second goal. But you couldn't fault Millen. The chances that the North Stars had in the first 10 minutes were numerous.
Now the draw, the North Star power play. Neil Broughton kind of center it, came through to the near corner. Ulf Dahlen lost it there to Manson. Dahlen appeared to maybe hurt himself. Now it's cleared back into the North Star zone.
A little lumber from Manson, I think, on the hand. And
now Neil Broughton turns at center ice. 3 minutes left on a Minnesota power play here. And Murphy. And Neil Broughton who dumps it in. Gagne kicked it loose behind the net. Bellows gave it back to Gagne. Out to the line Murphy. Larry Murphy to Neil Broughton. Now Bellows. His pass stolen by Brown, but he couldn't get it out. Murphy deep slot. The long shot. Belfour the save. Rebound Manson. Cleared it to center. Murphy turning there for Minnesota. Gave it to Aaron Broughton just off the bench. Gave it to Neil, who bounces one to the near corner. Modano on it. Mike Modano centered it. Neil Broughton a shot. Belfour the rebound, and he made another save on an Aaron Broughton attempt. And Ed Belfour able to keep the lead at 4-0 for Minnesota.
Well, Broughton moved into the top of the slot. Let the shot go. The rebound. Belfour down on his knees, got his hands and the stick on its side to prevent it from being over him, and then Barber took an extra swat at it, and then Manson came in and swatted at Barber. Nice pass from Modano to Broughton, who plays the point. The power play snuck into the top of the slot and let it go, and then Barber hacked at it, and Manson hacked at him. And Belfour sporting a pretty neat mask with the Eagles on either side.
Six minutes left to go. 2.5 for a Minnesota power play. There's the draw to Neil Wilkinson. His pass deflecting to Savard. Dennis Savard left it for Trent Yanni at center. The return pass didn't click. And Modano gets it over the hawk line to Barber. Don Barber got turned around by Manson, who steals but failed to clear it. Here's a centering pass. Modano, a shot and a save by Belfour. Modano attempting a one-timer, didn't get a lot on it. Still, Belfour needed to make a good stop, and now behind the net a little problem as players bang together. The officials in there so far have managed to keep everybody from getting too involved, it has appeared. And now they're going to separate. The North Stars on their way to evening up the series. They lead Chicago 4-0.
The whistle. Good save by Belfour on the one-timer from Modano. Then after the whistle, Yanni shoves Barber into the end boards. Barber took exception to it. They both got into a shoving match. And an offsetting minor penalties call with 5 minutes 21 seconds to go and a minute 55 to go on Van Dorp's double minor.
Neil Wilkinson back in his own end. 22-year-old rookie. Really had a terrific night tonight and a pretty strong series overall. Wilkinson's lead, a two-line pass though, and we get a whistle.
The North Stars going with 4 defensemen. They started with 6, Tenorti and Musil. Musil got hurt. I haven't seen Tenorti on the bench. He started the game, played regularly in the first period, but hasn't played in the second and third, so they've gone primarily with 4.
And a little murmur through the crowd as they announce that Game 6 will be played here in the Met Center on Saturday night. And we'll have it, of course, on Sports Channel as well as WBBM Radio. Now here come the North Stars. Berezan into the Hawk zone. Still the Minnesota North Stars on the power play. Now Wilkinson tries to center it. Deflected to the far corner. McRae. Got a bump from Brown. Hook poked loose to the near side, and Hudson able to clear it the other way. Game 5 in Chicago Stadium Thursday night. Game 6 back here in the Met Center on Saturday. So it now becomes a best 2 out of 3 series with Chicago owning home ice advantage. Here's Bellows. Cleared it over the line. Gagne centered one. Shot wide by Dallin. Out to the line, Murphy. Gave it to Chambers, who centers it. Gagne couldn't pull the trigger. Conroy knocked it to the corner. Dowland digs it out of there. Moves in front of the net. Couldn't complete the shot, and Presley shot it into his own bench with half a minute left on the North Star power play.
Wayne Presley out there primarily maybe to get a shorthanded goal. 4 of his 11 playoff goals have come while the team has been shorthanded. Scored a shorthanded goal in Game 2. 25 seconds now to go on the double minor to Van Dorp. One of the positive things for the Blackhawks are penalty killing. 1 power play goal against, but they've had 7 chances to do it, and they've taken some bad penalties in this game.
Oh, many of the 12,879 trying to start home right from the draw. Bellows a good chance, shot it wide. Now Dallin behind the net. He and Manson come together there. Cleared around the boards to Hudson, whose pass hits the leg, and Creighton managed to roll it to center ice. Chicago penalty now is over, and both teams are back at full strength with 3.5 left in this one. Here's a lead for Bellows. He streaks for the night, shoots one, and a save by Belfour, who holds on. 3 minutes to go. Minnesota 4, Chicago nothing. This is Chicago Blackhawk hockey. A couple of minutes of this game as the North Stars will tie the series at 2 victories apiece. And the only thing left for Minnesota is to try to preserve their shutout. Wilkinson and Van Dorp have words, but now the play goes on as Wilson gave it to Thomas on the far side. He rolled it to center ice. Wilkinson, and a flip it in, taken by Wilson. Cleared it out to the neutral zone. Now Conroyd gave it to Secord. Bounced one into the North Star end. Thomas against Giles. He center one. Troy Murray didn't anticipate the pass coming. And the North Stars clear it out to the neutral zone, where Modano shoots it in. Trent Yanni battles his way to center ice. And Thomas got it over the line to Roenick, trying to cut for the goal. He's knocked down. And it's taken away by Gavin. And we're going to have penalties behind the play. Roenick and Murphy had difficulty separating. And Don Koharski sounds the whistle. But I better, well, we'll do that in a second.
Roenick trying to cut in. He's tackled by Murphy. No penalty there, but Roenick took exception to it, gave Murphy a bit of a poke. And then as they got up, they wrestled a bit, and then Murphy gave him a slash, and that was all that Kowarski saw. And Murphy goes to the box, and the Blackhawks looking to break the shutout of Casey on their 6th power play. They're 0 for 5. Isn't that a pretty sight?
Well, I might as well tell you then that the broadcast rights of this game have been granted a sports channel and WBBM radio by the Chicago Blackhawks solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any reproduction or other use of this program without the consent of Sports Channel or WBBM is prohibited. Little debris has been tossed onto the ice surface, so they'll be cleaning that up for a second or two. And once again, a Chicago-Minnesota series does not fail to provide some outstanding play, some exciting play, and a few surprises along the way. So we now have a best 2 games out of 3 series. The scene shifting to Chicago Stadium Thursday night. We'll have a 7:20 radio pregame on BBM and on Sports Channel 7:30 Central Time. For some of our audience, Winnipeg and Edmonton still tied at 3 in the 3rd. Key swing game in that series, with the Jets trying to go up 3 games to 1. They had a 3-1 lead in that one, but the Oilers have caught them. Now here's the draw taken by Manson. Dave Manson fails to get it in deep. Yanni carries on. Gave it to Manson over the line. Fought off a Gavin hit to the corner. Manson behind the North Star net with it. Near point to Yanni, across to Roenick. His long shot deflecting wide. Secord picks it up on the far side. To the line and Manson. And then it's poked away by Gavin.
Good job there by Kurt Giles. He went right at Secord in a hurry, forced him to rush his pass.
Manson hands it away. Neil Broughton feeds Aaron, who's going to try to waste a little time. Now Aaron Broughton to the Chicago line with a long shot. Belfour makes the save, and we're in the final minute of the game. And the crowd loving it here in the Met Center as their North Stars have evened up the series. Here's Thomas into the Minnesota zone. Back to the near point to Wilson. His long shot. Casey the save. Rebound Neil Broughton kicked it loose to center. And we're down to half a minute left. Thomas in over the line with a shot. Casey makes another stop. Now in the far corner, Presley jammed it loose, muscled his way in front, trying to stick handle, poked away, and the North Stars come out. 20 seconds to go. Aaron Broughton in on Doug Wilson. Around him, shoots one. Belfour with a stop. That's the 40th shot on goal for Minnesota tonight. 5 seconds to go. The first career shutout in the playoffs for John Casey. The North Stars win.
And Murphy with a cheap shot coming out of the penalty box, spearing Roenick. That's totally out of character for Larry Murphy.
A big gathering at center ice here. The officials again reacting well to try to stave off trouble, and it appears that they're going to be able to do it. And now the North Stars can celebrate. They gather around John Casey, and why not? A 29-save shutout in the third period. Chicago with 13 shots, a total of 29 for the game. Minnesota with 11 shots, a total of 40 for the game. And the only goal of the third, Dave Gagne from Barber and Bellows at 3:41. The North Stars have evened up the series at 2 victories all. The final tonight, John